Russian man like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just the brother for the rapture. I hang glide, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a garden and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my sleep like a lot.
When you look at a series like Naruto, which very early on prided itself on the hidden meaning behind the hidden meaning, i.e. lessons that a ninja must always learn to see past deception, it's important to remember that this phrase doesn't just apply to the characters in the universe, but it also applies to the readers of the manga and the viewers of the anime. Oftentimes, the mythology references and the Buddhism references that are used in Kishimoto's writing tends to go unnoticed by a lot of fans in the West, which makes a lot of sense. Most Western fans don't know mythology beyond ancient Roman and ancient Greek mythology, and the only thing they know about Buddhism is that there's the term of the Buddha, nothing more, nothing less. Well, with Boruto Naruto Next Generations, this trend has continued, and much like Naruto's manga, if you're someone who's well versed in the inspirations and the funds that the writer's using, which in the case of Kishimoto with Naruto was Buddhism and Asian mythology, you'll gain a deeper appreciation for the series, and Boruto's continued this trend in the form of technology. Much like Naruto, the Boruto story is written in a way to where if you know, then you have a deeper understanding, and if you don't know, you can still appreciate the story at face value. But since this channel's focus more so on the lore of Naruto and Boruto, in particular the light novels, we're going to take a deeper look at the true meaning of the Kara organization. My challenge to each of you guys is to share this video with anyone who believes that Kara is just a bootleg version of the Akatsuki and that Boruto doesn't have any clever aspects to his writing. So as we get into this video, I want to blow up a common argument that I see with topics like this. Most of the time people write comments like, bruh, it's not that deep. The writers, they didn't even think they're hard about it. Like, you're just reaching for content right now to pay the bills. So the thing about that is that you would be right if Masashi Kishimoto was a discovery writer like Hiro Mashima or Akira Toriyama, the authors of Fairy Tail and Dragon Ball respectively. However, the undeniable fact is that Masashi Kishimoto draws on inspiration and reference Buddhism and Asian mythology so many times in the Naruto manga, it would make your head explode. One time is a fluke, but when it's done multiple times and repeatedly, it's not done by mistake, but instead it's a conscious decision that's done by design. With the Kara organization, Kishimoto not only continued to build on the elements of science that were introduced in Naruto Gaiden via Orochimaru making clones, but his new characters, since taking back over the writing, he's continued with the trend that the former Boruto writer Ukyo Kodachi started with the Kara organization. So what we're going to do here is first take a deeper look at the meaning behind the names of the Kara organization, then explain the inspiration behind their names, how it ties back into their powers, and then explain why these Kara cyborgs, which is a reminder, cyborgs are humans with mechanical enhancements, they are not androids. We're going to look at why these cyborg humans are tied into the bigger message of the Boruto franchise. So let's start things off with Ada, my personal favorite, the female cyborg who Masashi Kishimoto created. To understand the name's fun and why she's so overpowered, you'll first need to understand that Viz Media spells her name incorrectly in the official English translation. Viz spells it E-I-D-A, when it's actually Ada, A-D-A. Which is a side note, only the English translation has this issue. The reason why this matters is that Ada is a nod to ADA, which is a programming language. It is also in honor of Ada Lovelace, someone who's regarded by many people as being the first programmer in history. Ada's ability to control love is a nod towards Ada Lovelace. Ada controls the ability to love, Ada Lovelace. Her younger brother Damon also has a name that's rooted in technology. Damon is a program that runs in the background, working parallel to the main applications. On Unix systems, the services with the lowercase d at the end are to be considered daemons. Like his sister Ada, whose powers are a play on the real-life inspiration of the name, the same is true for Damon. The Damon program runs in the background, just like Damon's ability to reflect attacks is always running. Bug, who's the guard who's working at Boro's hideout, is pretty self-explanatory. He's named after a computer bug, but for as simple as the name pun is, even his role in the story is a pun on the name itself. He's a bug in the car system that gave way to the introduction of Ada and Damon, just like how a computer bug can cause unexpected problems and results. In this case, Bug revealed an unexpected result to readers by showing us Ada, the cyborg, revealed to be stronger than Jigen, and then later on we had Ada, the cyborg pattern after the first programmer, symbolically used Bug to reveal Damon, who had been in the background the whole time. Now, some of you guys might say, wait a second, you're reading way too much into this, but like I've said before, when Kishimoto took over the story, I said that the man has a way of writing to where if you know what patterns to look for and how he uses different things in his storytelling, it's going to reward you and you're going to pick up on his influence and the puns that he's using, and you're going to continue to see this pattern going forward, even when Kodachi was writing the Boruto story as well. So speaking of Kodachi, let's move into the characters that Kodachi introduced in the series and their deeper meanings behind their names. So first we have Amado, the scientist who created everything behind the car organization. He's the one who created the technology that turned normal humans into cyborgs with combat ability that surpasses even some of the Kages, and in some cases outright surpasses Jigen in power. Amado's name is a pun on AMD, the processing manufacturer that's founded in 1969. AMD is short for Advanced Micro Devices. The company specifically makes semiconductors that are used in computer processing. The company also produces flash memories, graphic processors, motherboard chipsets, and a variety of components that are used in consumer electronic goods. Kind of fitting when you consider the fact that Amado produced the technology that made the car members as powerful as they are. Code is another self-explanatory one. In programming, code is a term for instructions that are written in a specific programming language, which again ties back to the other puns we have. Ada is a pun for the very first programmer, Ada Lovelace, and Amado is a pun for Advanced Micro Devices, which makes the semiconductors for computer processing. Boro is a pun on Business Objects Reference Ontology, which in short is Boro. This is an approach towards developing ontological models in information systems or semantic data models for large and complex operational applications. Boro was originally made as a way for mining ontologies from legacy systems, basically software modernization. That in itself is fitting because out of all the car inner members we've seen that we've been introduced to, who has the most complex abilities that we've seen so far? Boro. The guy has insane regeneration abilities, is able to house an invisible virus that's so small that only the Sharingan can see it, and the virus is able to shut down the body of whoever it infects. However, inside of Boro's body, he also carries the antibodies for that same virus. His body has a core like all the car members, but he's the only car inner member that we've seen with the ability to move his core at will, and once his core is destroyed or removed from his body transforms into a tentacle-like creature. Pretty complex, right? Hence the name Boro. Victor is a pun on Victor Technology, which is a company that manufactures calculators. In the anime, we find out that Victor is the CEO of a company, which loosely ties in given the company would have a balance sheet and calculators would be used. However, there's a lot more to it than just that. So Victor Technology also produced technologies that were used in World War II, like the composites that were used in airplanes, which is very important because what is Victor most associated with? The airship crashing that carried Kawaki on it. Victor is also a former veteran in the 4th Great Ninja War. With him revealing in the anime that he lost his leg in the Great War is very fitting given the fact that Victor Technologies is associated with World War II. Now, Delta is a pun on quite a few things. So you have Delta Electronics, which is an electronics company founded in 1971. You also have Delta Encoding, which stores and transmits data in the form of different sequential data rather than in complete files, with the differences being referred to as deltas. The transmitting of data should stand out to you because Delta is shown transmitting data by that drone on her back, which is shown transmitting her consciousness to whatever Delta body her consciousness is being uploaded to. Delta is shown with 3 bodies, and that drone is shaped as a triangle. The drone transmits the consciousness to the individual bodies. The reason why this is so important is that it brings up the 4 aspects of Delta, the 3 bodies and the drone itself. So focusing on the number 4, we have to look at the Greek alphabet. The Greek alphabet goes alpha, beta, gamma, delta. When you look up these symbols, you're going to see something. You're going to see a triangle. The drone on her back is in the shape of a delta sign. The drone represents the technology aspect of her name. Just as you have an update for a system that keeps the delta files, the drone does the delta encoding and transmits her consciousness to the next body, which until this is done, the actual body doesn't move on its own because the system hasn't been updated with the soul. Now, when you get to Deepa, everybody's favorite car member that they love to dump on, the anime original character that we had in the car actuation arc, even Deepa has a technology pun in his name. Deepa is a pun on Deepa Technologies, which is an Indian company that serves as a security system supplier. It's also a pun on Deepa, the uniform deep matrix acidizing technology, which in particular, the deep matrix acidizing of carbon formations. Deepa's powers in the anime are rooted in what? Carbon. His armor's made out of what? Carbon. His cubes are made out of what? Carbon. Do you see the pattern here? Now, Jigen, the leader of the car organization, even has a couple puns that link him towards technology and is tied into the greater meaning of the car organization. To understand how, we have to first remember that Victor ran a medical supply company. Jigen and Kawaki's flashback in the anime had Delta acting as a spotter to help him find potential vessels to pass on Ishiki's karma seal. In the anime episode, we saw medical tents set up and medical supplies are shown as well. Jigen International Incorporated is a Japanese healthcare company that subspecializes in medical devices and equipment and is mostly known for wholesale distribution of prescription drugs. The karma seal can be symbolized as a drug, evident by Kawaki at times having withdrawal-like symptoms in the manga due to not having the karma anymore. Jigen also has a pun on the name of the Shenzhen Jigen Technology Company, which has a specialization in search engine optimization results, which is another technology pun. Jigen was searching for a vessel to bestow upon Ishiki's karma seal. Now, as far as Jigen's powers, unlike the other car members, his powers don't tie back into technology with the name pun, but instead are a byproduct of the Ishin Boshi myth, which I've done a whole video breaking down Ishiki's powers and how it ties into the mythology. With the car organization being so heavily influenced by technology, we're getting the opportunity to see that just as Boruto's story is an evolution into the next generation of ninjas, the car organization is symbolic for the next generation of science in this world. Car is meant to represent what happens when one relies too heavily on the usage of science in a world that's run by ninjas. The core conflict of Boruto is where does science fit into this world of ninjas, and can the two coexist? The car organization is a physical representation of relying too heavily on science at the cost of part of your own humanity, which is why each car member had their bodies modified by Amado's ninja tech is so important, which, as a reminder, this is only one of the 19 different forms of scientific ninja weapon tech that exists in the Naruto world, which, yes, you heard me right there, 19 different types of ninja tech, and I'll be sure to cover them in a future video to round out this 3-part series on ninja tech in the Boruto world, with the first installment being the rise of scientific ninja weapon tech and the second installment being this video here. In closing, I want to say this: yes, the Akatsuki have more tragic backstories and deeper philosophical meanings, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the car organization is badly written. You just have to dig a little bit deeper in terms of the puns on their names and how they relate to the overall story. One set of antagonists is character driven and the other set is narrative driven. The one flaw that I personally have with the car organization is that unless you understand the puns and the meanings behind their names and how they relate to the overall powers, you're not really going to appreciate them. And characters like the Akatsuki are characters that, because they're more character driven and they rely more on melodrama, and that's going to piss some people off, but Akatsuki characters do rely on melodrama. It's easier for people to gravitate towards those characters opposed to what you get here, but that's another video for another day. So my question for you guys is, how many of you guys knew the meanings behind the different car members' names, and which one did you think was the most creative? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until then. Have an awesome day, guys.